Hello there, this is Retro Spirits Guide. I'm presenting ANDRO DUNOS, and this is running on the Neo Geo AES Max 330 Mega ProGis Spec SNK. Just thought I'd read that for you. And this game is for use in Japan only. So I'm committing a heinous crime here, and this is by VISCO Games. We've gone straight to playing the game. Don't want to look at the title screen. It's a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up. Featuring a very chubby do spaceship. He likes eating space muffins, space sausages. I suppose he looks a bit like a fish, but then don't all spaceships? No, they don't. Shut up. It's a horizontally scrolling shooter, and it's cartoony, so everything's got some chunkiness to it. It's quite portly. The bad guys are kind of portly and you're kind of portly. It's not cartoony in a parodious way. It's like it's not hilariously cartoony. You don't have any semi-naked pandas stroke duck creatures to shoot. You do get like fat spaceships to fire your weapons at, which is groovy. You got 4 weapons at the top. You got a 3-way, which is the one I'm using at the moment. Seems to be the most useful one. You've got laser, which was the sort of double shot, homing, and rear. You have to pick up the power-up tokens. One will appear shortly, and there's one. And depending on what letter it shows, you get a different weapon. So that had M, so I get missiles. Picking up the Bs gives you bonus points at the end of the stage. Which, if you get all the bees, it gives you power-ups for collecting all the bees, which is handy. You have a charge shot, like in R-Type, so you hold the fire button down, and you can do like a super shot based on which weapon you've got activated, and that reduces your overall power level. U's give you this kind of barrier thing. It's not that exciting a game. It's pretty hard. The graphics are quite nice, the sound's forgettable, but the gameplay is alright, the controls are okay. It's a very average kind of shooter. It's fine, it's absolutely fine. On a system with not a lot of horizontally scrolling shooters, it's kind of okay, but I wouldn't say pick it over, I don't know, anything on the SNES. I don't know what's going on here. I've got some sort of pop-up thing. Oh, it's because the scrolling's a bit jerky. So I'm using the old FrameMeister here to try and solve the jerky scrolling, but I don't think it's going to work. It's a bit of a game over screen here. I've crashed my spaceship into the Sahara Desert. That's unfortunate for me. Yeah, it's quite a hard game, to be fair, and having to sacrifice your special weapons to do the charge shot just makes it even harder. I'm sure people can do this on a single credit. I'm not one of them. There you go, there's a charge shot. Beautiful. Has fiddling with the FrameMeister solved my issues? Doesn't seem so. There's another charge shot. And here's the title screen. Lovely stuff. That's the second level there we're looking at. This game is one of the smallest megabit Neo Geo games. I think is it 38 megabit? But it's also, conversely, one of the most expensive Neo Geo games you'll ever want to pay for. Well, you won't want to pay for it because it's not worth money. But the Japanese version of this is ridiculously expensive. And last time I looked, and this was several years ago now, the Japanese version was at least 600 quid. And this was 10 years ago now. I bought my copy of this. This is the PAL version for about 40 quid 20 years ago. 17 years ago, off of eBay. and it's at 40 quid. It's kind of okay. It was new and factory sealed at that point, so it's quite minty. So I think the condition of it's okay. And I see it more as a curiosity, because this game isn't as good as many games you'd get on, say, the SNES or the Mega Drive. Like it's no Thunder Force 4, that's for sure. It's pretty good looking though, and it's right. It's alright. It's just a bit dull. Level 3 is quite nice, but the European version now is even worth getting up to 500 quid. So you're not going to buy a copy of this. You might be able to get it on the Neo Geo CD. I don't think this game was ever released on any other format. So Neo Geo CD, if it is available in that, and it is less than 100 quid, is probably your best bet at the moment. Or the MVS, obviously. But it's just painfully average. I don't really recommend you get it, which is unfortunate, isn't it? There seems to be some sort of sand penises there, trying to grab me out of the sky. This cave background's very uninteresting, isn't it? Neo Geo isn't blessed with a lot of horizontal scrolling shooters. We've got Blazing Star, we've got Polestar, we have got ANDRO DUNOS, we've got Last Resort, we've got Z-Blade, which I don't think was ever released on AES, and that's not very good either. And we have got, there's another one, don't tell me, Prehistoric R2, which is cool, but was never released on the AES. We've got another one, Ironclad, which was a Neo Geo CD game, and that's ugly, but it might play okay. And that's all I can think of right now. There's been a few shooters released over the last few years by that homebrew dev team, what they're called, NG dev team, and they're all shooters, but they're all kind of vertically oriented. Apart from Last Hope, there we go, there's an AES game, another horizontally scrolling one. That was ugly as fuck though, man. Look, I'm trying to set the sync mode again. The Neo Geo AES runs at a weird frame rate. It's like 59.63275 or something. It's not quite 60 frames a second. So what happens is, with the FrameMeister, is you get a little bit of judder in the background. Every 60 frames or so, you kind of, the frame judders, and it's incredibly annoying. It might not come across in the video, but live it is annoying as fuck. Anyway, not worth 500 quid, but it's alright. As you can see, it's a simultaneous 2-player game. So if you like cartoon shooters and you want to buy this game, if you've got 500 quid, go ahead. But it's nowhere near as good as, say, Parodius, something like that, or Last Resort. Alright, it's alright.